Our next presentation here at the Innovators Corner is going to be by Colonel Craig Taylor, who's the commander of the U.S. Army Aeromedical Research Laboratory, with an overview of his organization.
Get it up a little higher. Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Colonel Craig Taylor, the commander of the U.S. Army Aeromedical Research Laboratory located at Fort Rucker, Alabama. So I have the privilege today of not only introducing my lab, but also introducing my command, the U.S. Army Medical Research and Materiel Command located at Fort Detrick, Maryland. So on behalf of Major General Holcomb and Command Sergeant Major Rogers, just like to thank everyone for joining us today at the AUSA Global Force Innovators Corner. So MRMC is a unified team of researchers, logisticians, and acquisition professionals that are dedicated to protecting the readiness of our service members, projecting that readiness forward with medical logistics, and sustaining that readiness on the battlefield for whatever threat they may encounter. It may seem a little bit cutting edge to perhaps have research, medical logistics, and acquisition all in the same command, but I think as we heard this morning, I think that's a model that actually Futures Command is hoping to replicate. This allows a seamless transition for scientific discovery to move from development to production to force integration. So our team really can handle everything from that 6-1 basic research to the 6-7 production and deployment, and then beyond in lifecycle maintenance. So through the years, MRMC has responded to the call to provide life-saving protection and performance solutions to our brave men and women. Some of those things have been new malarial vaccines, new treatments, and new protections. Today, MRMC hears that call very loud and very clear and is committed to the next level of protection for both the battlefield of today and the battlefield of tomorrow. Everything we do at MRMC is a requirements-based activity. So we look both what has been required in the past, but also what is going to be required in the future and on the future battlefield. So again, we are one of the few commands within DoD that, again, has medical products and solutions that span the full life cycle, from initial development through testing and evaluation, and for drugs, FDA approval, through fielding, sustainment, and even disposal. MRMC provides this life-saving cycle through 5 critical areas: military infectious diseases, focusing on things like Ebola, HIV, and malaria; combat casualty care, ensuring that every service member has the greatest chance to survive on the battlefield; military operational research, to maximize health and performance on the battlefield, to minimize injury, to reduce any psychological burden they may have, and to minimize environmental impacts; our clinical and rehabilitative medicine area, which looks to return injured service members to full activity through a wide range of activities to include musculoskeletal rehab, regenerative medicine, traumatic injury rehab, and management of pain. The last focus area is the medical, chemical, and biological research area, a bit of a mouthful, but it strives to provide capabilities to complex threats on the battlefield, to include things as nerve toxic agents and toxic exposures. So we manage a few coordinating offices at the DoD level as well. We coordinate the Blast Injury Office, the Medical Simulation, the Joint Trauma and Injury Prevention Program, and the Chemical, Biological, Radio, and Nuclear Medical Countermeasures Program for DoD. MRMC is a global workforce. We have just shy of 7,000 folks. The research and development laboratories actually span the globe with logistics commands on 4 continents. Our overseas laboratories are a vital part of not only protecting our service members, but also contributing to the global health platform. These units have been instrumental in several worldwide health efforts, and probably of you know a few, to include the recent Ebola outbreak, but also malaria and HIV. So our medical logistics units provide the medical support for both Asia and Europe, and they also serve to provide support to our U.S. embassies. So the command's infrastructure is quite unique, with dedicated personnel, scientific, logistics, and acquisition professionals, again, that allow us a full life cycle management from early development all the way through fielding and deployment. In many instances, we rely on commercial partners to acquire these. Many of our products are COTS products, right? So we have the ability to move a COTS product onto the battlefield and into full-scale distribution. Our product lines, those can often be vaccines, they can be pharmaceuticals, can be medical devices, can be information technology apparatus. This represents the diverse range of complex array that we field onto the battlefield. So we do rely on a number of partners. Those partners include industry, obviously, academia, federal agencies, and of course, international partners as well. These allow us to tap into an expansive network that allows expertise, clinical trials, manufacturing that we know that we could not do by ourselves. So today and over the next day, we're actually going to have two presentations. One will actually be from my lab, the U.S. Army Aeromedical Research Lab, and another one from the Walter Reed Institute of Research. So today we're going to have a brief presentation. Dr. Feltman is going to come up here in just a minute. Tomorrow we're going to have a team from Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. They're going to discuss, ready for this, rapid evolution of vaccine, immunogen, and monoclonal antibody candidates for emerging pathogens. Woo! One more time. No. But essentially what that is, what we're going to talk today is, how do we understand when someone's got too much on their mind? When we've asked them to do too many tasks inside of a cockpit, or inside of a UAS platform, or on the battlefield, or in a vehicle. That's the question we're going to answer today. The question that they're going to answer tomorrow is, how do you use all this science to be able to detect diseases much faster on the battlefield? Right? We don't want to have to always drag with us large pieces of lab equipment. Right? The ideal is we can put it onto a small assay, right? And so there's some emerging technologies that they're going to discuss tomorrow that allows us to do that. So I think if we could actually go to my first slide. Okay, and the next slide, please. Well, I guess I have the clicker up here. I apologize. Oh, we had a pretty picture there of a unmanned platform, but. So our lab has done something this year that's a little bit unique, actually. Inside this fiscal year, we've actually made a significant pivot to the research activities that we were doing. And this was in response to the challenge that we got from our senior leaders to address the 6 priorities. So we actually, in this year, smartly closed down some programs and began new ones in support of these priorities. I would really divide what we do in our portfolios into 2 big items: protection and performance. The protection element is looking at all the things that help protect our soldiers, not only in aircraft, but on the battlefield and inside next generation vehicles. That includes things from helmet design. Does it stop the round that it's supposed to does it provide the support they need to prevent a traumatic brain injury, to things like seat specifications, right? When either a platform hits the ground, does it absorb the amount of energy it needs to protect our occupants? So all these elements of protection. Performance is the other one, right? So we know that we really view that our human operator, our people, our men and women, that is the key element of our battle system, right? People will always be the most important weapon system we bring there. And how do we get them to perform the best they possibly can? So our lab spends a lot of effort to understand how we can make each individual perform at their absolute best. And that's actually what we're going to talk to you a little bit about today in our Innovator Corner demonstration. So we can't do this alone. We do this with a number of partners, and up here is just a few of the regional partners that we share with. Of course, we're very fortunate to be at Fort Rucker, Alabama, where we are co-located with the Aviation Center of Excellence, and General Gaylor is very nice to allow us to hang out with him. This provides us an incredible platform to have exposure to aviators and all of the issues that they face. We're also blessed to be very close to the Maneuver Center of Excellence up at Fort Benning, so we have all of our ground warfighters that are very close by as well. We have strong partnerships with other great DoD labs, to include the Air Force Research Laboratory, our own sister labs, ARI and ARL, as well as other federal partners such as NASA. We're also very fortunate to have a number of great academic institutions located close by that we work closely with. What are the drivers? I think we heard a great exposition of what those drivers are this morning as our senior leaders really laid out what are we facing on the modern battlefield. So in our little example that we're going to use, we're actually going to sort of try to highlight a few of what we think are the big key issues moving forward in the modern battlefield. But as we see on here, many of the things that are on this, we're going to face an increasingly complex operating environment. So not only future vertical lift is going to bring new systems, new interfaces between a man and machine, but we're going to have increasing burden on our soldiers as they operate complex equipment. So what we're going to do now, I have to bring Dr. Feltman up here. She's one of our fine PhD researchers laboratories, PhD in psychology, and what we'd like to do is do a little bit of stage setting. So we're actually going to talk you through a bit of a mission scenario. You know, we often find that as we try to think about what capabilities we need, using a use case can be very helpful and is to allow us to kind of think through the problems that we need to solve. So the mission that we're going to set for you is one that incorporates the Future Vertical Lift platform, right? So what we have is a mission that's going to begin in the middle of the night. Who likes to begin work at the middle of the night? So right off the bat, right, it's going to create some challenges for our operators in this scenario. This mission, too, also is going to employ new technology, right? So they're going to be able to fly farther, faster, longer than our traditional missions do right now, right? So how does that affect our operators over time as they can do those things? By the way, these things, are they going to have very little technology, or are they going to be loaded with technology? Right? I think we can all agree that we tend to just keep adding more and more technology into the platform. I'm sure for those pilots, right, just think about what we asked guys in the 64 to do, right, the Apache. We asked them to sit there and fly one of the most complicated pieces of machinery. Oh, by the way, we'd like you to listen to 10 channels of radio and look down at a computer screen and fly potentially a manned-unmanned platform, right? That's not a lot, is it? No, that's a lot. So understanding all the cognitive load is something that we really want to highlight as we walk through this scenario. So we actually have written this scenario up, and it appeared in the December edition of Quad A, right, as a teaser for the things that our lab is going to be working on over the next couple. So I'd just like to do that little bit of stage setting. This could be a FOB or a forward base anywhere. It could be in any theater. Again, though, it's set a bit in the future. So if you're asking how can you have a 6-hour mission without stopping in a FARP, again, we're making some assumptions about a future vehicle.